Robert Carlyle, you play Rumpelstiltskin on ABC's Once Upon a Time. My first question for you is, you have tons of fans from your work on TV, all the way back to Hamish Macbeth and recently Stargate Atlantis, but your most acclaimed work, I think, has really been on film. And for me, you'll always really be known primarily as a film actor on things like Full Monty, Priest and Trainspotting and so forth. So I'm just wondering what draws you back to TV and to regular roles on TV.
Well, I guess I've never really, I've never made any kind of decision about one or the other, I guess, very early on in my career. I started off, success for me came through television at first. I did a piece called Cracker many, many years ago, and that was kind of the beginning of things. And then after that, I did Hamish Macbeth, again for 3 years. And so that was the beginnings of my career. And since then, as times went by, I can't resist it. When a good piece comes in and a good part comes in, it doesn't matter to me whether it's film, television, theatre, radio. It doesn't matter. If it's something that takes my notion, then I'll go for it. You know, particularly with this thing, Once Upon a Time, it's pretty obvious. It's such a great part.
Yeah. So how did you come to the role, and what was it about Rumpelstiltskin? I mean, maybe the answer is obvious because it's such an iconic fairy tale. But what was it about him, and how did it come to you?
Well, first off, it was through Eddie Kitsis and Adam Horowitz, our creators of the show. The boys had, I think they'd been quite interested in working with me for quite some time. They wanted to get me involved in Lost, in actual fact.
Right.
And for one reason or another, it didn't happen. I was doing other things. So I knew it was coming from a good source right away. And then the next thing was Rumpelstiltskin himself. Thinking, well, everyone knows the name, you know. But that's kind of pretty much all we know. The fact that he turned straw into gold, yes. But all that's there is really the name. And I thought, well, this is the chance maybe for me to, define or redefine this character for a whole new generation. Ripe old age of 51 now. There's a whole new audience out there, particularly for this, and that's what I've discovered, that an awful lot of people that are interested in Once Upon a Time, a lot of students, a lot of young folk, a lot of people who in actual fact, particularly in the US, had never heard of me. You know, that's just the way things go.
Yeah.
So it was a fantastic opportunity for me to introduce myself to an American audience in that respect, and also to, as I say, to define and redefine this character, this Rumpelstiltskin, who's in everyone's mind, everyone's imagination. We all know this name from our childhood.
Yeah.
Who is he? What's he about?
Yeah, you know what? That never really occurred to me, but you're so right. I know the name and I know bits and pieces about his story, but I didn't know anything about him at all. And I had to do a bit of research before our interview, and just from watching a few episodes of the show. But apart from that, I wouldn't have the faintest idea of anything about him. So that's a really good point. Now, the one thing that you probably asked about all the time, but I really would like to know the answer myself, is how long and how difficult it takes for you to get into character. Because, I mean, you do have to wear a lot of makeup and costume, right?
Yeah. Rumpelstiltskin is. I've never really been a kind of a makeup actor, if you know what I mean. It's not something that I think, okay, I'll put this makeup on and I suddenly become this guy. But this character, it kind of happens like that, strangely enough, because it's so different, because it's such a massive change for me. It takes about 2 hours in total to get all this makeup on, that by the end of that sequence, when I'm looking at the makeup mirror, I can see my face changing, myself changing, and the voice starts to come on, and the laugh starts to happen. I start to have a laugh on the set, and that's really key for Rumpelstiltskin to me, that he's been alive for so long that everything is kind of pretty much easy for him. He doesn't really need to try at all to do anything, and he's a remarkable. You know what I mean about Australian? He's a piss take.
Yeah, it's true. It's totally true.
He really takes it to the absolute limit, and he takes all the characters that he meets along in his journey, whether that's Prince Charming or whether that's Snow White, the Evil Queen, whoever it is. He kind of dangles like a carrot in front of them.
Yeah.
He's got a massive hammer in the other hand to hit him with at the end.
On her way to the Queen's highway. This is the route she's taking. But you better be quick. Because if she kills the Queen, she becomes as evil as the woman whose life Do you think?
She could never become that evil.
Evil isn't born, dearie. It's made. If snow starts down that road, you'll never get it back.
So he's a remarkable character, and I enjoyed playing him. And I suppose if that's answering your question, I find it particularly easy to get near Rumpelstiltskin in actual fact.
Well, it kind of does look like you're having a ball, to be honest, which is great. I can imagine there's a lot of people who do a lot of, who do different types of jobs that completely hate what they're doing, but that must be really good for you to be able to be working on a show which is really so successful. Like, you've just been picked up for season 2, so it could be around for a while. And thank God you enjoy it, obviously, or hopefully.
I have to tell you that, Eddie.
No, I hate it actually, but
there's no one happier than me that it's been picked up for a second season. I think it absolutely more deserves that, and I think we'll get more stories to tell in this world. So I'm more than happy.
All the little small touches about the character, the mannerisms, the style, he says dearie a lot and things like that.
Yeah.
And your natural brogue, your accent, was all of those choices stuff that you were able to bring to the character yourself, or is it stuff that was really in consultation with the creators of the show?
There was one in regards to dearie, which has become almost his catchphrase. There was one. I think he said to Snow White in the pilot, "Dearie" or something, I'm right. There was only one little line, and I really liked that, and I thought I'm going to bring that back, but I'm going to use it particularly for Prince Charming, and it gets back to that kind of taking the piss kind of thing. That I love it when he calls Charming dearie, because he's taking the higher ground. Dearie he's at the higher ground anyway. He's magically powerful. He's got this huge magic, but he still likes to take the higher ground, and I think dearie is part of that. Yeah. And the guys, whether it's Eddie and Adam, or whether it's Jane Espenson or any of these people involved in the writing, they've given me an awful lot of freedom with this part, an awful lot of freedom to kind of go and do what I want to do. They cannot wind me up and let me go. What's he going to do? And it's every scene that I do, every Rumpelstiltskin scene that I do is like a little jigsaw, and it takes an awful lot of preparation every one of these scenes. But as soon as I'm on there, I love it. I don't want it to end. I just want to keep going.
And what about playing? Because you play dual roles on the show. And what about playing Mr. Gold? Is that how do you enjoy the dynamic of doing two people? Well,
Gold's an entirely different kettle of fish. I mean, one of the reasons why I was so interested in taking on the parts is how often you get that chance in any role to kind of split it in two like that. Because of course, Rumple and Gold they're opposite sides of the same coin. Really. Yeah. They are the same person. So that Gold was very calm. I thought, this guy's calm. I played it from the very beginning that he knew. I didn't know whether he did know.
Yeah.
But I tried to give him a kind of slight ambiguous kind of flavour. Keep that smile on his face, and let the other characters think what they want to think. And certainly let the audience think what they want to think.
Yeah.
And I think it worked from that respect. I think people thought, Gold knows all along. And of course, we've come to, I don't know where you are if you watched the whole thing at the moment, Robert. We've come to episode 22 now, and you realise that Gold does actually know everything that's going on. He was, in fact, controlling the whole thing from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. So a very calm character on the one hand, and the other hand, just to add to the things I said to you about the dearie thing, there was also the elements of commedia dell'arte.
Yeah.
As in Rumpelstiltskin as well, the mask kind of work. That I did a lot of mask work at drama school. The makeup was kind of like a mask.
Yeah.
And that I did an awful lot of study on that before I come to do the part. And I thought, that's it. That feeling that I had doing these mask workshops 20 years ago, way back at drama school, is exactly the feeling I'm looking for here. Because I don't care about what people think when you put that on.
Yeah.
Everything goes away.
Yeah.
You don't really care about what you look like. What people think of you, how they react to you. It's all coming from the inside.
Yeah.
So that commedia dell'arte mask element are really crucial, combined with, and this is the most bizarre one of all for most people. Most people with children get this though. The third element to Rumple is really my 6-year-old son Pierce.
Yeah.
I just kind of watched him one night and I just heard him. He does this thing with his voice, Pierce. He kind of goes, and I kind of looked at it and thought, that's it. That's what I'm looking for right there. Is this childlike thing, this childlike quality. And when I managed to put that childlike voice in with the Commedia dell'arte, very grand, mannerisms, with the sense of fun, then I felt that I had it. So you got all these things combined with this very calm Mr. Gold. So this is perfect. These two things are balancing just nice now.
Perfectly. Now, with the Emmys, sometimes fantasy shows are a bit hit and miss, but where a show like Once Upon a Time has been so successful, it's so beautifully made, and has the support of the network behind it, which it does, it's possible that it might actually make an impact. And if it does, as actors, you need to pick your highlight episode. And that's what we always ask people that we interview for these things. And I've given it some thought, so I've got some suggestions. But first, I'd love to know, I probably already know what you're going to say, but what was your highlight episode for your character, and what would you submit if you were nominated?
Well, the highlight episode I would have to say would be episode 12, Skin Deep.
Right.
Which was essentially the Beauty and Beast episode. And I think that at that point you really see everything. You see all the bits that you've been missing with Rumpelstiltskin in the previous 11 episodes, all the little bits that were missing. Are all kind of put back into place there, and you see him for what he is, 100% at home with Rumpel, basically.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can see the sadness in the man. You can see the fact that he's intensely lonely, and that to me was a beautifully, again by Jane Espenson, a beautifully written episode, and it really gave me a tremendous platform to express myself entirely as Rumpelstiltskin. So I think in terms of my entire career, that's among the best 42 minutes of TV I've ever been involved in.
This was you! You turned her against me! You think you can make me weak? You think you can defeat me?
Who are you talking to?
The Queen! Your friend, the Queen! How did she get to you?
The Queen?
I knew this was a trick. I knew you could never care for me. Oh yeah, you're working for her. Or is this all you? Is this you being the hero and killing the beast?
This word.
Shut up!
This means it's true love.
Shut the hell up!
Why won't you believe me?
Because no one could ever love me!
Jane Espenson has written some amazing TV over the last few years. She's one of the best writers of fantasy TV series ever. And Skin Deep, you're right, is so good for you. The vulnerability of Rumpel really comes out so perfectly. But I also would have said as an alternate, Desperate Souls is good as well. And the whole story with your son and stuff. And how Rumpel became Rumpel.
It's like 50-50.
Yeah. It's hard. It's really hard. But it's all about impact and range, and you totally have that with both.
That's what you're looking for as an actor in any part that you play. And you get such a range within 42 minutes. Yeah. It's just, that's gold dust for any actor, man.
Yeah, and so many actors these days are telling us that TV is really kind of where it's at the moment. We're really in like for a cliche, like a golden age. There's so much good TV, especially on UK and US TV. So... yeah, and what you're saying is totally kind of confirming that.
I think Robert, I think the golden age is very interesting comment there, because I mean you can look back to the 50s, the true golden age of television in the States, the late 50s, early 60s, the wonderful shows that were produced then. There is a sense here, I think, particularly in the last 8 to 10 years, that we're in that place again, and that I think that's always why it's attracted so many people towards it, who, as you were saying earlier on, normally known for doing film. So many of us have done that. You get Tim Roth, you got Kevin McKidd, you got so many people that are coming across Tim Roth doing their stuff. Why not Johnny Lee Miller did that a piece as well? There's so many of us that are coming over doing it, and the reason is obvious. It's good writing, and I think really 24. I think it's got an awful lot to do with it as well. I think 24 was a game changer in terms of television, serial television, and I think that elevated it. And again, of course, Keith Sullivan, good friend of mine. Again, someone who was known predominantly for film acting, has went into the television world and produced some fantastic work.
Yeah.
And as again, but back to what I said at the beginning, it's about the work, it's about the quality of the piece. Don't matter whether it's TV, radio, theatre, don't matter what it is.
No.
At the moment, it happens to be TV.
Yeah, now that's really refreshing to hear. Now, I've got two final questions and I'll let you go. The first one is about awards generally, because you're a BAFTA-winning actor and you've been highly acclaimed throughout the UK, and you also won a SAG many years ago for The Full Monty. I can't remember if you were at the show. I know there was a couple of the actors. I don't know if you made it that day.
I was working in Europe at that time.
That's right. But I'd love to know what your reaction was to winning that. You know, back then in the day, the SAGs were really, the ensemble award was just about what they believed to be the best ensemble. These days, it's more like a precursor for the Oscar. But it must have been terribly exciting to get that prize, in the lead up to the Oscars.
Fantastic! What a wonderful honour! It was a fantastic honour for me. I don't take any of these things lightly, Robert, at all. I really. It's about receiving something. It's never about winning something for me. It's about receiving something and being lucky enough to be in that position to receive something like that. And to receive a SAG award was a big plus point for me in my career. Of course, with the BAFTA as well, award for Full Monty, that just took it on to another level. Yeah. As I say, I shake my head at it because you never. I'm not very good at kind of recognising what it is about me that people are like it. But I tell you what, I will certainly take it for sure.
Yeah. The final question is really about the chemistry that you have with some of the actors on the show. You work opposite people like Emily DeRaven and Jennifer, and especially Lana Parrilla. I'm speaking to her in a couple of days, and I would just love to get your take on her so that I can reverse it and maybe get her take on you. What's it like working with these guys?
Lana and I get on very, very well. I mean, it wouldn't be at all wrong to say that we got on best at anyone in the cast. In actual fact, the two villains get on pretty well together. But I just think she's an absolutely tremendous actress. I think she's got tremendous style. She's so dedicated, Robert. You know what I mean? She's an incredibly dedicated girl. She will go through these scenes, 1,000 times before she puts anything on film at all. A tremendously dedicated actress, very, very easy to work with, and so not at all precious, and you get that sometimes with actresses, particularly playing parts like that. Been there. Yeah. But with Lana, there's none of that at all. She's just such a professional person to work with, and an absolute joy.
Can I put you on the spot and ask you what you would ask her? What's one question I can ask her that might make her laugh?
To ask her, did she think any of her nights at the Waldorf Hotel helped her preparation for art?
Okay, I will do that. I'm dying to know the answer. Well, let's
was the Waldorf helpful in your preparation for your yes,
That sounds good. Okay, thank you for that, Robert. I appreciate that.
Waldorf Hotel is a great place in Vancouver, which myself and a few of the cast hang out now and again at the weekends, but it's always pretty messy.